So it's time to wake up, people. Nothing can stop what's coming. God is the plug, and much respect.
Hey, shout out to Anthony. Shout out to Anthony, man. That's my boy. We have a show, a podcast called Standing on Business, and it's really all about standing on your principles, spreading truth, right? No matter the cost. And we're just getting started, but we've had a little bit of success with that. And Anthony and I connected just because, well, we connected on here, obviously, but he and I are both people who we kind of reached that ceiling in our respective careers. He was in entertainment. He was on a MTV show. He always is so modest, but he was on an MTV show, and yeah, I guess at some point he kind of realized that there was a show within a show, which I kind of found out, when I got to the height of, raising venture capital in the tech industry and going through an accelerator, which was also like a show within a show. So, we both have that unique perspective, especially as people of minority backgrounds, who kind of get a sense for what this is about. And, there's a club, man. There's a club. And if you're not in it, you're not in it, man. And life ain't as good, supposedly, if you're not in it. But that's how we connected. And he knows a ton of stuff about everything relating to entertainers because who produced your show again? Was it Fox or something? Fox was connected with Diddy.
Jamie
Jamie Foxx,
Foxx.
ladies and gentlemen. Jamie Foxx, and he was an actor, and then he got into music. I don't even know how he got into music, man.
Living Color. You might remember him as Wanda. He put on a dress a couple times. You got to put on a dress, man. Dave Chappelle talked about the dress. Oprah, the one of the best friends of John of God. It all goes back to the kids, man. It's all about the young, y'all. It's time to start waking up the fact that there's like 300,000 children missing from the border. I mean, is literally Jeffrey Epstein. And you got to be blackmailed in order to play the game. If you're not blackmailed, you're going to be blackballed. I sent you something about an interview earlier with Whitney Webb. She's a very, very smart woman. I think that what she's talking about needs to be spoken of. And it's just an amazing time to be alive, man. So much respect to everybody.
For sure,
I
for
mean, that's
sure.
the
Shout out
currency that runs the world, right? The buying and selling of children.
She woke it up. Not me, people. That was not me. That's not how I sound like. I'm playing. I'm playing. Stuff needs to get said. Stuff needs to get said. Y'all repost the space, man. Let's have a good discussion. We got great people in here. I mean, we got researchers, we got traders, we got entertainers. I used to work in the music business too. Now, I worked in tech, and unfortunately, I got out of the music business because I got up there too, and I was like, man, this stuff ain't for me. And of course, I switched to tech, and I get up there, and oh, it's the same motherfucking thing, man. That was so disappointing, man. I was like, man, these guys are nerds. They not into. Ah, shit. Here we go again. So crazy how life happens, man, and you make the connections, and shout out to people like Michael. He's connecting all the dots. So that's all we're here to do, man. I got a speaker request, but I need y'all to do me a favor and share this space, man. Share the space. There's no point in coming to spaces and not being able to have the highest quality discussion you can, not being able to get the absolute best information you can, not being able to connect with people who you can do an exchange of value with, and not leaving the space feeling better than when you came in. That's why I stopped hosting spaces initially, because there are so many bad actors who would come in and you feel like shit. You feel like you wasted your time. You feel like you wasted your energy interacting with these people whose job is just to spread negativity and get you to stop coming here. We're not doing that shit here. So speaking of that, I'm very discerning. John, I don't know you. You came here. Welcome. Go ahead, brother. What you got to say? Nice to meet
Hey,
you.
Brock, good to meet you, man. Thanks for you guys shining a light on these incredibly important topics. I was resonating with a lot of what you guys are saying, and a lot of the truth that I speak about too on Spaces, and I hear you loud and clear, man. I mean, our kids are the front runners of the mission that I've been on for a good 5 to 7 years now, and especially the last two, or well, going on three now on X. And yeah, I mean, they ambush you in every way, shape, and form. You start talking about trafficking and the kids and what's really going down in the nitty gritty of it. And I mean, you're blackwalled, and they do everything they can. They have the bad actors, and they have their groups and shills and trolls, and they come in and burn your space and light it on fire. And then next thing you know, you got like 4 or 5 people in it. But yeah, I just wanted to add something too. When it comes to the kids, I mean, just the border itself. You mentioned the number 300,000, and every year collectively, and I'm sure it's not quite as much as it is, but we're talking 850,000 children are missing through the system itself. And this is a number that is on a federal level, keep in mind. That's not even including on a state by state level of cases that aren't reported federally. This is a federal issue that I'm just talking about solely here alone. About 3 months ago, I checked last. The last reported number was almost at a million. It was about 900,000 sealed cases right now in the United States. That's sealed cases dealing with CPS, HHS, and all of the malfeasance that's going on there. So if that says anything about why things are missing and why the quote public isn't aware of it, well, there's one of your answers right there, because the bar runs the gamut too, and it's got to pay homage to the British crown. And you know what they say about that? There's usually a Brit at the bottom of the dog pile, or German, depending on how you look at it. But thanks, guys. I just want to pop up and add a couple of facts and figures. But thanks for everything.
Ah, well done, John. Well done. Thank you. It's a pleasure to meet you. Just gave you a
Yeah, you
follow.
too, man.
Love the work you're
Thank you.
doing. I'm an entrepreneur, and after everything I've gone through, I decided that I want to just donate a portion of our proceeds from our businesses to organizations that combat trafficking and racism and all this bad stuff. So, definitely will hit you in the DMs to see if you know some good places to kind of look into that. And yeah, it's going to take some time for it to be meaningful, but I think it's about just doing it. So that's what I'm doing, man, and hopefully we can connect.
100%, man. I look
Uh,
forward to it. Nice to meet you.
Thank you, brother. Yeah. So before I go to Fiona, can we get a few more reposts in here, guys? Because remember, I'm shadow banned. Remember, there's no purple pill. They don't want this conversation to yield much fruit. So the more people we get, the more information is exchanged, the better everything goes for all of us, and more people will be willing to come to the next space and share, and then the next, and the next, and the next, and I see where things are going. I see that we have an election in 70 days, so we need to do the absolute best we can with all of our platforms to, increase the size of the snowball, because we have a snowball that, has been rolling in this year of truth. We had a huge win today. Shout out to RFK and DJT. But we got to get this thing spinning all the way. And in order to do that, we need to get as many people supporting each and every one of us as possible. And remember that you are literally a media platform. So use that to the best of your ability, right? I would treat these next 90 days like they're the most fucking important days of my life in terms of how things were going to be for my future and my kids' future. So let's do the best we can. Let's do the absolute best we can, be the best versions of ourselves as well, and inspire others through the work we're doing. So I'll land it there. Please repost. And hi, Fiona. It's nice to meet you. Thank you for coming. Fiona, it's on you if you want to unmute.
Fiona, can you hear Barack? He just said that you can speak if you would like to.
Well, yeah, her hands up. I don't know if she can hear me. But yeah, why don't you go ahead, MC? You had your hand up.
All right. So,
Oh, sorry, I can hear you. Sorry, I forgot to turn my mic on. Sorry.
no, go ahead, dear. I can wait.
I was talking to myself. Sorry. I just wanted to move away from the main stage for a moment. but on the topic of RFK, which is the Kennedy family and the Kennedy administration of his uncle. And uncle, of course, in England has intelligence references as an acronym. But anyway, moving right along, I'm a decoder from Australia. I've been following along for quite a while now, since the very first Q drops back in 2017. And I've been learning at a very fast pace, but and spent many hours a day doing this. But it came to my attention recently. Well, we've known for a while. Sorry, let me start again. We've known in terms of science and government scientists, and we know Donald has been talking about his uncle, and there's that word again, who worked at MIT for 30 odd years. And they, of course, were doing secret work for the government, and a lot of it was to do with energy. And of course, the one that the City of London has used as a big stick of fear is the nuclear energy. And, had everybody hiding under the desks back in the day. And they, of course, MK Ultra and control people through fear. Well, it's come to my attention recently that on the Johnston Island at the Johnston Atoll, which is 13.8 degrees north, 172 degrees west, under the Kennedy administration, they did a test of it was called Operation Dominic, and Dark Journalist has recently had Dr. Joseph Farrell on talking about it. So if anybody would like to go and watch that, there's a hell of a lot of detail in there that people can pick up on in a historical sense. But basically, the technology was called Ripple technology, which is interesting, of course, because that correlates to, isn't Ripple like a crypto coin or something? But anyway, it was called a Ripple 2 secondary. So sorry, to set off a bomb, you have to have a primary and a secondary. So to basically get the explosion, etc. Anyway, so they did this second test. The first one, interestingly, it noted that it fizzled, which reminds me of the word frazzle. For some will know frazzle drop, might have heard that term. But anyway, it was a 75 kiloton. And then if you mirror 75, you get 57, which is Heinz Varieties, which was from the very first movie about how many communists were in the Department of Defense or the State Department, one of the two. But anyway, so moving right along, the second test was a success, and it said that it was a 99. It reports on Wikipedia that it was a 99.9% clean test that they did on Johnston Island, Johnston Atoll. And anyway, so basically what that meant was that America now had, and I'm assuming this is the cabal that got upset about this, because it affects everything, the petroleum industry. It would have upset the boys in Dallas with all their oil. But anyway, moving right along, it basically meant that they now were able to do like what they call fusion technology without the radioactive fallout. So, excuse me, that has huge implications, and basically it ended up with them able to put bombs in a suitcase, so to speak. So, in regards to that technology. So, the scientist is mentioned, the two scientists were mentioned. Now, apparently, when the motorcade was going through Texas that day on the 22nd of the 11th, which adds to 33, in 1963, he was on his way to the Trade Mart in Dallas to deliver a speech and I think there's a Clay Shaw connection there with a CIA business cut out somehow. There's some kind of connection there to the trademark there in Dallas. And he was on his way to give a speech that, of course, never took place. And that speech was to be with this scientist whose name escapes me. I'm terribly sorry, but if you go to the Dark Journalist video, you'll get the guy's name. I just can't find it in my notes straight away. And I know people can be impatient. But basically, then when we then go, so effectively what that meant is that the technology is now there to not have that radiation fallout. So basically, the only way to win the nuclear war game is not to play, but now they can play, basically. So that's, pretty full on shit. But I don't want anyone to go into fear, because that's the frequency that they want you on. And if any of these idiots, so I think these criminally insane idiots, that's I believe the technology they've used for 9/11. So remembering it was 99.9, so there's still 0.1% chance of other things happening to the human body. But anyway, moving right along, I suppose I just wanted to point out that when we then go and we look at the executive order written under the Trump administration in 2017, signed on the 21st of the 12th, 2017, and then we go to, sorry, you'll just have to give me a moment, then that executive order was continued under the Biden administration. And when you go and read that executive order, it uses the word fusion, and it's basically to do with Wall Street. Can anybody hear me?
Yes, I can.
Oh, good. Oh, good. Thank you. So I'm just trying to find that here on my, hold on, just give me one sec, because I don't want to get this wrong. So when one goes to read this executive order, it states, and I'll just give you the headline and a small amount of body copy, the risk of boring anybody. Continuation of the national, so this is the one that the Biden administration continued. Continuation of the national emergency with respect to the threat from securities investments, which is Wall Street, that finance certain companies of the People's Republic of China. And that was continued on the 11th of the 7th, 2023, which adds to 61. If you add 11 plus 7 plus 20 plus 23, you mirror 61, you get 16. And 16 actually equals Q in classical Latin. And, you're in Rome. Well, we're all in Rome because Australia is part of the Commonwealth of Nations, which effectively America has been a Commonwealth nation, which Michael was discussing just before. So we're all in the same boat here with this Commonwealth of Nations business. But anyway, when you read through here, it's pretty serious stuff. The president found that the PCR, which is the People's Republic of China, is exploiting United States capital to resource and enable the development and modernization of its military, intelligence, and other security apparatuses, which continues to allow the PRC to directly threaten the United States homeland and United States forces overseas. This is the bit, through the national strategy of military-civil fusion, the PRC increases the size of the country's military-industrial complex by compelling civilian Chinese companies to support its military and intelligence activities. Then when you look up fusion, the word dates from the 1550s, and it's the act of melting by heat. In a nuclear physics sense, first recorded in 1947, which of course is Roswell, Roswell, and that was operated near the Alamogordo, excuse my pronunciation, Army Airfield, Alamogordo, Army Airfield, and part of the top secret Project Mogul, Donald Trump's USSS Secret Service codename is Mogul. The balloon was intended to detect Soviet nuclear tests. Now, apparently, the Soviet Union sent off a massive big bomb in 53 or 57, I can't remember the year now, that shook the windows in Norway, apparently. Anyway, the date of these tests done was June and July 1947. Location was Lincoln County. I mean, Lincoln and Kennedy, and everyone, I suppose, has seen the coincidences between that situation. And then it says New Mexico, which is, you also get the word Mexico. And Trump apparently has just been enjoying, just paid a visit to a Mexican Italian fusion food restaurant. Now, the coordinates of here is 33 degrees on the 33-degree parallel, and where he has just been speaking in Arizona, in Glendale or Glensdale, is also on the 33-degree parallel. Now, with the MH370 situation, with the plane that went missing and the Chinese or Asian people on board that were like the scientists or inventors or both, that semiconductor technology that then became, you could say, inherited by somebody else, that technology allowed all missiles to basically be stealth. So at this point in time, if anyone wants to go shooting a missile, let's say America in this instance, you have defense systems that can shoot them down. With this semiconductor technology in a military application, it's like you've got no radar. It's going to hit you. So, yeah, that's all pretty serious shit, but the key word being fusion. Then when you read down, it says here, meaning, this is for the word fusion, meaning union or blending of different things. So we've got military applications, we've got finance and Wall Street and an economy of America, which is economy of the world, which everybody should know by now because we're all, it's all connected. State of being united or blended is by 1776. What an interesting date. Used especially in the 19th century of politics, in earlier 20th century of psychology, atoms, because this is atom bomb stuff, the testing stuff, and jazz. In nuclear physics sense, first recorded 1947, in musical sense by 1972. Now the jazz, excuse me one moment, I got a terrible cough. The jazz bars or the jazz places in America where they had jazz as opposed to pop or rock was where the CIA was doing their LSD stuff. So there's another connection in there with the word jazz and jazz bars. Anyway, so on the 24th of the 8th, depending on where you live in the world, it's either today or yesterday, I suppose, President Trump arrives at the Mexican and Italian fusion restaurant in Las Vegas, Nevada. And of course, Nevada is a bit of a testing ground for military scenarios. So, yeah, I just thought that was quite interesting. And then,
Oh, that's a handful.
I know,
That's a
right?
lot.
Is your head
Yeah,
spinning yet? Yeah, well,
seriously,
you should see
it's hard
my
to
amount of
take all that.
notebooks, darling.
No, no, no. I could
Yeah,
tell you are so very well researched. Thank you for coming. I don't want to cut you off, but I do want to,
move
for the
on.
sake of the flow of the space, get to a couple of the hands because we had a couple
Absolutely.
come up and a couple people come in. But obviously, you've got a ton, so just put your hand up and we'll keep rotating back.
Yep.
Guys, if
And
you
just
want,
remember, no fear. No fear, anybody. Stay off the frequency of fear.
right,
Yeah.
right. That was a great point that you made, which is fear is manufactured. It's completely the opposite of God consciousness. I think we have to understand that. Why would we be born into a place where everything around us was meant to scare us? It does not make any sense, people. Everything you see
100,
on the
100.
news, everything that everything that even with your job, you fear losing your job, right? So
Yeah.
they hold that over you for power. Like a lot of that is just manufactured. So we got to get over that. And yeah, no fear is such a good point. Sorry if you don't mind muting your mic. But
Sure.
yeah. um yeah, fear is a really good topic I want to kind of touch on for a second, and I'll mute. um we're going to get a lot of fear mongering in the next couple of months and the following months after that. Um, I don't know how many people know this fact, but this year, 2024, Fiona was talking about numbers for quite some time. Uh, there are 60 elections taking place worldwide. 7 of them are in some of the most populated countries in the world. So this is the year, ladies and gentlemen. This is the year of the biggest power grab and lockdown in world history. What that means is, if we do not push these people out, they're going to put all their people in place, and they're going to work in unison to lock us all the fuck up.
Those
2030, Agenda
bastards.
2030,
Those
Agenda
bastards.
2030, Agenda 2030. They're going to, you know, we're supposed to own nothing and be happy, right? So honestly, this is like now or fucking never when it comes to what we're doing here. And we have to understand that fear is how they control everything. And I made an analogy earlier. We didn't have as many people in the space, but um, we're at the end of the Wizard of Oz, I feel like, and at the end of that movie, they pull back the curtain and they see it's just a really scrawny dude in there, right? That crazy booming voice and all that noise was just a tool used to make you think that there was this all-powerful person, and it really wasn't the case, you know? So with that said, I honestly want us to move without fear, because when nobody is fearful, what power do they have? What power do they have when nobody is fearful, right? So, yeah, the more we inspire courage in others, men especially, the more that we have a army of people who can apply enough pressure numerically and vocally to force these scrawny little Oz people out of business. So, thank you, Fiona, for ending with that. Guys, let's repost the space because we got Michael Jordan in the building. We got D Sauce in the building. We got Turtle in the building. We got Anthony in the building. We got a lot of heavy hitters in here. We might as well get more people in here so we could have a great quality conversation, you know? Do me a favor, repost, 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 repost. If you're coming up here and you're requesting a mic and you haven't reposted the space, you're not going to get it. Yeah, it doesn't make sense to only have, I don't know, 30 reposts is what I see. And we got 65 people in here. So if you don't know how to do it, you go to the arrow at the top right. There's an arrow pointing up. You should be able to see. And it will say share via post. And you would post that on your wall. Then everybody can see it when you share via post. So please repost the space. Thank you for coming. I hope you're enjoying the conversation. Feel free to follow me and the other hosts for quality information, and understand that these people have put in probably months of their lives researching the information that they are trying to communicate to you for your well-being. So just think about that. These people have spent months locked away, no family, no friends, not playing games, just researching so they could figure out what's going on, so they could tell it to you.
Like, they're not just doing this for them. So repost the space. Do them that one favor. And yeah, let's go to John, then MC.
Thanks, man. Normally I wouldn't just throw stuff up in the nest without asking, but I thought it was pretty fitting. I put a little something together about the Wizard of Oz, which I, in my opinion, consider one of the most telling movies of all time. It drops so many truth bombs in that movie, from everything from the Tin Man to the Yellow Brick Road and the Emerald City. It's pretty telling, so I just wanted to add that. But also, just a little something that's interesting based on what Fiona said too, and it has to do with kind of tying in what Michael said, and what is the crown and titles of nobility and everything have to do with us here on American land and soil. It's like, well, when you have these attachments, there's some sort of precursor that comes with it, undisclosed, of course, right? And so one of the interesting things about fusion is the fusion centers. So there's 5 main national fusion centers. One of them happens to be in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, which ironically, not ironically, happened to be one of the locations where Trump happened to visit multiple times, but also where the convention was held. So that was pretty pivotal. Not to mention, the main fusion center is about 3.3 blocks from where they hold Jazz in the Park, downtown Milwaukee. So these are all pretty pivotal facts as well. But the fusion center is important because it has a lot to do with the FBI involvement, as well as collusion and interference dealing with election, and stemming all the way into Cambridge Analytica. So it has quite a significant importance. I didn't want to get too deep down the rabbit hole on that, but absolutely, fusion has a huge part to play in the federal overreach using the 3-letter alphabet soup agencies and these administrative agencies, which at this point in time have zero authority, not really like they ever did, but we, unbeknownst to us and unwillingly, unknowingly allowed that to take place. But we can also have a little peace of mind, playing into the fear porn and the fear mongering and the false flags and everything else. That top down, bottom up approach has been happening. We can see that with the latest case rulings in the Supreme Court. Starting with Virginia v. EPA, ultimately stating that these administrative entities aren't government agencies and they don't have any sort of lawmaking authority. And then most recently, obviously, we have the Brunson matter, which is looming on the forefront, and then other aspects as well. But ultimately, what I wanted to kind of add was, we are sovereign people, and we have to wield our authority and know what that means, and our rights, regardless if they've been converted or not. We have the power to remove these bad actors, and we need to do so. The power was given back to us, and it's vested in us, and we always had the power. We just didn't quite know how to wield it, right? So it is important to not only notify and notice the people that are in these positions as our employees, by the way, but it is also vitally important in removing them as well when malfeasance and when they do not do their job and dereliction of duty is occurring. So thanks again for letting me pipe in. I just want to kind of add those couple points. But yeah, we definitely have the power vested back into us. It's just a matter of what we're going to do to assert our rights when those time comes. Unfortunately, the feds and the agencies are all different shapes and sizes through different administrative realms, and we just can't allow that to happen anymore.
Absolutely, man. That's really well said. Thank you for dropping that bomb on us, man. Yeah, no, exactly. We gotta be able to call these people out. In order to do that, we have to know the history, and we have to have a movement of people who, knowing the history, feel invigorated enough to want to call them out. So, how we distill this information to people is just as important as knowing the information in the first place, right? Like, let's say that I am your teacher and I'm gonna teach you that, I don't know, fucking 1 + 1 is 2, right? If you feel like knowing that 1 + 1 is 2 is not fucking important, you're not going to pay attention, and that means that I failed as a teacher. That means that you fail as a student, and we both fail because my ass gets fired, your ass stays in first grade, right? The difference here is that this is life or death and the future of humanity. It ain't 1 + 1 = 2, but it's actually way more fucking important. So we actually need to understand these things and take it to heart, and have a good path for how to communicate. So, yeah, with that said, let's go to MC. And by the way, I think Michael had a phone call. He might be back, but looks like he dipped out. Yeah, what's up, MC?
Hey. Oh yeah, no, that was a lot, but I like how she has taken the time, and I want to give some gratitude and appreciation to the amount of time it must have taken to collaborate all of that. But I do want to rewind it just a bit to back when there was a gentleman that was speaking in regards to CPS being involved in, you know, our wonderful $3 trillion industry that actually runs the world. Back in 2010, there was
Ice
a
cream.
ice cream. Okay, cool.
Yeah, the ice
Um,
cream industry, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But back in 2010, there was a congresswoman in Georgia who found out that Georgia's ice cream factory was selling ice cream to California's ice cream factory. And she and her husband were, um, you know, shot in their head, called it a murder suicide. Um, and it was right after she had spoke on the congressional floor in regards to um, I don't know if she was running an undercover operation herself or how exactly she found it, um, but yeah, so that's something that I just wanted to tie in. I know it's a little bit past the time frame of when we were speaking about it, but a lot of people don't know that. It's so easy for us to get important information and then so much happens at once. And then there's some of us that our brains are like a Wikipedia, if you will. So whenever he said that, it, popped that tab up in my brain and I was like, ooh, let me go ahead and highlight that.
Are you talking about Nancy Schaefer?
I'm pretty sure it's been a minute since I've researched it, but it was more or less I was going off of the archive of my brain.
Yeah, I think you're talking about Nancy Schaefer.
It, they found her and her husband at their house, both.
Yeah, yeah. She came out. I don't know if it was. Did you say? I think she was in like Atlanta or somewhere. But I remember.
Yeah, she was in Hotlanta. It was back in
Yeah,
2010, if I'm not mistaken.
yeah. That was her. She was very vocal about that. But like you said, uh it's Joe Biden's favorite snack that runs the world. That ice cream.
Yeah, Joe loves him some ice cream, and so does Bill, so does Hill, so do a lot of people, man. They love them some ice
I love
cream,
kids
man.
jumping in my lap. I've got hairy legs that turn blonde in the sun. I love when they rub my hairy legs. And he's sniffing kids'
Yeah.
hair all the time. Like, what is that? He's sniffing little girls' hair. It's a weirdo.
Yeah, yeah. I guess they all have that in common, right? A little bit weird, these people, man. But yeah, man, welcome, Wave. Just so you know, put your hand up, brother. That's how we do it here. If you got something to say. But yeah, yeah, that connection is crazy. The money trail with that, if we are able to really put that together, my guy Anthony knows a lot about Chase Bank and their involvement and all that with some Jeffrey guy. I forget his name, but I think a few years ago people were talking about him. What's up, man? What's up, Skuldom? How you doing?
Hey man, thanks.
Right.
Yeah, I'm alright. John, sorry. First of all, Fiona, I followed you and I was glad I actually got brought up because I thought maybe you could do an audio, record an audio or a video, whatever, and post it and just run through, just keep going and going and going, just run through everything that you know, just get it out there, put it on record or whatnot. And then for John, I had a question for John. I understand that there's the sign out situation where you sign out of the system, but there's, in my opinion, there's still a fight within the system as well, because if we separate this big corporate takeover and our rights from God-given rights, and you sort of, there's the system right there in that crux, right there, and how we could maneuver around it. It's when I figured that out, I was like, what? Yeah, so my question to you, John, is, there's a lot of battles to go. So where do we get from uh, understanding that what everyone waking up to this corporate sort of takeover to this who we really are to signing off from this system?
Brock, do you mind if I just add something to it quick?
Listen, can you do it in 30 seconds?
Yeah, I actually absolutely can.
All right,
Perfect time frame, if you don't mind.
floor is yours, brother.
All right. So easily stated, we don't ask permission. Okay. We all are sovereign people. Okay. We're born that way. We come into the world naked. We leave the world naked. Okay. So all I'm getting at is you got to know what your rights are, right? And if you contract, everything is in commerce. If you contract, you got to know what you're contracting with, okay? And anything that's attached to you that you find out you don't want attached to you anymore, you have to just simply notice them and let them know. And it's that simple. And then you can assert your rights. Otherwise, you're bound in contract. That's the simplest way of putting it. So if we want to assert our natural rights that we're all collectively born with and stand in honor and do it honorably, you just have to remove the attachments. And that's where titles come in.
Can I just respond? Yeah, so I heard this wicked thing, that this awesome saying, which was corporations can't do business with human beings.
Hey, Fiona, your mic is open, dear. Can you close it? Please and thank you.
Yeah, thanks for that, MC. Yeah, corporations can't do business with human beings. Yeah, guys, let's figure this out. I was supposed to end the space 2 hours and 22 minutes ago, but we're still going. My brother Vince has a space that I want all of us to pull up into. I told him I was going to go to his, and mine was before his. He came to mine, so I like to show that love back to people. So, why don't we all just kind of go over there in a few minutes? Yeah, Fiona, I'm gonna let you spit some game, but just for the sake of time, I know you're very well researched. I know you got a lot of info, but I want other people to speak. So if you could keep it to like 2 minutes, and then we'll go to Wave. I'll give you 1 minute, and then we'll rotate and I'll close out and we'll all go to Vince's. Go ahead, Fiona.
Hey, real quick, Brooke, I'm actually going to go ahead and head over to Vince's space. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much for letting me speak, and I will see you whenever you get there.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Cool. And hey, everybody follow MC. She's great people. And yeah, look forward to seeing you in a few minutes. And hey, can you tell Vince I'm coming with some people, all right?
Okay, I will.
All right, cool. Go ahead, Fiona.
Oh, thanks, Barack. Um, yeah, the gentleman, I can only see a ship anchor that spoke about me doing speaking about everything that I've researched and stuff. So thank you for that request. But I'm a little bit tech challenged, so I don't really know how to do that. But if somebody would care to host a space, be more than willing. But getting to contract law, I recently had to go to court for a fine for not wearing a mask, and I did not contract with them. And in the end, they had to. They offered me what's called here a Section 76, which basically means there's no fine, there's no record. You walk out of here today and we forget the whole thing ever happened. So that's knowing that you're a sovereign person and that you are not your straw man. And if they tried every trick in the book to get me to contract with them, they belittled me, they name called me, they tried everything to trigger me, but I refused to be triggered. And I just kept repeating that I'm a sovereign person and I do not wish to contract with them. And that was the end of the case. So when you know this and you then apply it in the real world, and believe you me, it takes courage. I had to dress up, back to like being a real estate agent, power dress basically, to give me the courage. And I'm not saying I wasn't shitting myself, but at the end of the day, I knew what was at stake, and I thought, well, fuck you, you guys, I'm just not going to get away with this shit. So you have to be of that attitude, and you have to be courageous, and you can all do it.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Can you get closer to your phone? I think
Sorry,
people are having trouble hearing you. I'm having trouble hearing you.
sorry. That we can all be courageous. We can all do it. Um, so yeah, dig deep and don't contract with them, and then they've got nothing. They can't proceed with their false courts. So yeah, that's all I wanted to say. But as I said, happy to come on with somebody who's willing to host me, and I'll babble for hours. Bye. Thanks again. Bye.
John, you should host Fiona for sure.
Yeah, yeah, no, definitely, definitely. Thank you for coming. And I am gonna give you a follow right now. I think you have so much information, and I'm sure it like when people who are researchers have a ton of information, it's so hard for them to condense it. And when you're in the space, depending on the size of the crowd, depending on the breakdown of the people, it's hard to like get it out. So, I think that there's certain ways and tricks where you can kind of put certain things together. And I'd love to see if I can kind of help with that. I'll take a look at your page and see if I can kind of help just with how you like present things and break things down, because I think a lot of people need to understand what you're saying. And yeah, I think I can sort of help with that. What's up, Wave?
Hey, what's up, my friend? Thanks for having me up on the mic. Sorry to disrespect the rules of the room. I wasn't really aware of them. But yeah, I didn't mean any disrespect. When we're trash talking Joe Biden, sometimes I can't help myself. But I don't know this Vince person. If you wouldn't mind sharing either their username or just putting the link up in the nest, maybe, or DMing me so I can hop in.
Yeah, I'll put it up right now. 1 second.
All right, thanks.
Is that okay? Yeah, is that all you was gonna say, or
For now, yeah. I mean, sorry I missed your space. I look forward to talking with you again soon,
okay?
though.
All right, all right. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I'll put this here right now. Yeah, this is Vince's Space, guys. You guys can hop in. I'm gonna show up in a second just because I have to do some stuff. But does anybody want to like say something? If not, D-Sauce, are you still there? D-Sauce, you ain't saying nothing.
Bro, I'm here, but I'm gonna be honest, I'm exhausted.
Me too, brother. Me too. I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna show up to Vince's, but I'm also exhausted because I've been up. Yo, so do you guys know? Fuck. Do you guys know DJ? Never mind. You probably don't know DJ, but I hosted a space last night that went from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. today. Wait, no. I hosted a space that went from 8 p.m. last night to 2 p.m. today. Obviously, I was not there the whole time. I went to sleep at like 2, woke up at like 4, and hosted till like 11, and then went back to sleep. So I've been pretty exhausted, and I don't know how the heck I'm still here, to be honest with you people. I do not know. And this space was supposed to be 45 minutes exactly. But Patriot, yo, D Sauce, fact, what the turtle? What happened to Patriot? Where's this space? The title of this space was Quick Space before Patriot Space. And he didn't show up, and this turned into a 3 hour thing. And I just want to thank you all for coming because it was amazing. Thank you. Thank you, everybody who showed up. It was a blessing, right? That's how these things happen. Obviously, you're not prepared for something, but people show up, they make it great, and you just try to honor them, you know. So shout out to D Sauce in fact for coming. D Sauce, you had to come, man. You're the reason I ain't have no Wi-Fi in the last week, so you had to pull up. But shout out to Fact for pulling up as well. And yeah, D Sauce for bringing Mike. That was a huge boost for me, man. I really appreciate that. And he had a lot of great things to say about the crown. We need to know who the big boss is, right? Because they're always gonna be running it unless we know who the big boss is, and they're gonna run it through other people if we call out the other people. So it actually makes fucking sense, right? When you break it down like that. So that's huge. And I'm not gonna lie, kind of knew that already, but I didn't know it like I know it now. Again, when you look at what's going on with this agenda and how England is like America, but it's very small and condensed, so they run all that stuff very like to a T. You know what's going on in London? Crimes, Muslims, people going to jail for free speech, right? Like what's gonna happen next in America? Duh. So it makes sense. It makes complete sense. So yeah, getting that message out there. I think if you're looking at the dominoes that have fallen, I think that's one of the ones that hasn't. So I don't know who's going to bring that down, right? But we can certainly play our part with our platforms, with our ability to spread it to like minded individuals. With that said, I know we got some hands, but I got to close this thing out. It's 12:01. As y'all know, I was up since 8. That space was recorded on my boy DJ's profile. 14 hours and 40 minutes, y'all.
Hey,
14 hours
just
and
before you
40
go,
minutes.
Brock, when you were talking about fear, the fear of people and everything, that's what really wanted me to request a mic, because the fear is their weapon, and wars are fought to reinstall that fear, our fear. We're being fearful of everything, whereas if we just look at the situation and realize that we're human beings and we don't have to go along with their corporate ideas, because there's two court systems. There's the law, and then there's the corporation law. And if we realize that,
Absolutely.
we're not fearful anymore, just don't hurt anyone.
Absolutely. It's true, yeah. There's that separation, right? There's that separation that they did on purpose. And, you know, could be their could be their Achilles heel. I believe that. But yeah,
So
guys,
yeah,
before
bro,
we
thanks,
close
man.
out, I wanna
Great
close
space.
out. Yeah, yeah. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate that. Feel free to come anytime. I'm gonna be trying to host more with the co-host here, D Sauce and Fact Havoc, both very well researched. I have a little bit of just knowledge myself, and I like to deliver it in a way that educates, enlightens, and inspires people, and of course, entertains them as well. Because what we're dealing with is a very urgent, serious situation with some evil ass people that takes all of our mental fortitude. It takes us being the absolute best versions of ourselves, using our platform to the best of our ability and maximizing this window of opportunity. And understanding that, of course, at some point you need a break. And if you're working, quote unquote, every single day to spread the truth like I am, you got to entertain yourself. So I try to crack some jokes, and I hope you guys kind of like the style and appreciate me for sort of bringing these people together. So hopefully you guys come back and we can do this more and more. My goal is to just go all the way through election season, host as many spaces within reason as possible. Sometimes my spaces will just be hangouts. Sometimes they will be truth outs. I like to go on both sides of the spectrum, as sometimes you need a little bit of a quote unquote social life when everybody around you is the group of people that are trying to do everything to all of us. Yeah, to me. So, with that said, yeah, guys, like huge win today. Summarize with RFK calling out the matrix as it applies to the industries that are slowly corroding America. The unification with Trump means the unification of two different parties and two different factions, which is what the establishment absolutely hates, which is what we absolutely need more of. And that conversation having merit as to why to support Donald Trump, if you are a independent voter, is going to be quite a bit smoother, if not a conversation at all. When we look at Democrats who are not supporters of Kamala Harris but don't like Trump, there is a big reason for them to like Trump now. The ticket is proving to be more and more anti establishment. If Trump was really affected by the assassination attempt and feels that he wants to create a big change and he is not going to just do what his handlers say all the time if he has them, then yeah, this is really freaking awesome for Team Humanity. Uh, at the same time, we have to be practical and understand that these people have had this plan in place for centuries. They've got technology advanced by decades, and they've got many tricks up their sleeves. Some they pulled in the past, some they haven't pulled, and we're gonna see a bunch of crazy shit happen. So what we gotta do is, like Fiona said, is not be fearful. We can't be fearful. We have to push forward with full confidence, and we have to spread this information as far and wide as we can. There are some people at the top who I believe want to be good and want to see Team Humanity win. I had a shadow repost, meaning that I was one of my original posts was posted, but I was not tagged by the god of everything for now. Call him Elon Musk. Yes, Elon actually reposted something I had posted months ago, and that goes to show each and every one of you that you never know who you can reach if you just try to spread good information. He's given us a shot, people. This thing would have been all the way locked down. It would have been locked down completely, but it's not. So we got a shot. So let's honor Elon because he had to put some shit on the line, like 44 billion, like assassination attempts that he hasn't even talked about, right? Like clearly, it ain't just all bad, man. So let's look at the fact that there is some light. Let's take advantage of it. Let's spread it far and wide. And with that said, thank you guys for coming. Let's do this shit again. Let's do it bigger. Please give me a follow if you enjoyed the space. Would really appreciate that. I'm not asking for any money, although I do have tips in my bio, and I perhaps wouldn't be asking for them if I had decided to play for another team without saying too much. But yeah, at the very least, give me a follow. And when we do have spaces, please repost because we had some quality speakers in here today. We had my brother D Sauce, we had Fag, we had my brother Anthony, who I podcast with, and we had Michael Jordan Corey, who literally took us to the end. If you guys missed that, he literally said, "Hey, this is the big boss on top of it all, right?" So, where are you gonna get better information than from your boy Space, right? So, shout out to me, and most importantly, shout out to you. And I'll land it with the Kennedy quote: "Ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. Ask not what humanity can do for you, but what you can do for humanity." And that's just give it your absolute best. Be the best version of yourself. Spread information to wake people up. Do it concisely. Do it coherently. Do it compassionately. Love thy neighbor. Thy neighbor is not thy enemy. The Matrix is your enemy. Okay? And the Matrix wants you to think your neighbor's your enemy. And they're going to try and make your neighbor your enemy. But yeah, your neighbor's your friend. When this shit goes down and there's a power outage and you need a can of tuna, your neighbor is your friend. Okay? So understand that, man. Love your neighbor, but also be wise as a serpent, because we're gonna have a lot more snakes coming in these spaces, and it's gonna get crazy, 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 crazy. So you gotta be wise. You gotta understand that they're gonna try to lock it down. They're gonna try to get you booted. They're gonna try to get you banned. They're gonna try to make sure your space don't work. So we gotta have each other's back, and we should all form a coalition in terms of communicating with one another about where's a good space, who's hosting, right? Like, let's help each other out. All show up together. All get more people in. Whoop de whoop. You know, like that's called a movement, right? People organize, working together, right? That's how these things work. And if you understand that the other team is a movement with all the world's money and power, yeah, we probably should fucking work together. So, if you're not sharing a space, if you're not following me, like you're just playing yourself at the end of the day, right? You're making it easier for them to do what they do. So let's help each other out. Let's love each other. Let's work as hard as possible. Let's treat these next 100 days like the absolute most important days of your life. And I say
You
that
on
as
Rumble?
somebody who don't smoke. I'm somebody who really just works, and I try to inspire others to do the same. So, with that said, peace, love, and blessings. I'll see y'all at the next space. Vinny's space is linked in this jumbotron. Can y'all see it? Copy that, paste that, go over there. It's also on my page too. I'm just gonna repost it so it's more current, and that's where I'll be for a little bit. I'm just gonna be hanging out. Y'all pull up, man. Y'all follow me. I'm gonna do another space. And with that said, peace and love. Hey, Team Humanity, baby. Let's win this war.